San Francisco has another heartbreaker of a game. They just lost against the Seattle Seahawks. Geno Smith got the job done at the very last moment. Good for Geno Smith. His first time ever beating the Niners. Prior to this W, he's had an 0-5 record versus the Niners, the worst QB record versus any team in NFL history. No quarterback has ever gone 0-5 against one specific team before. I thought that was a pretty crazy stat. But yeah, man, Niners suffer another heartbreaker of a loss, and that's just been the story of this year. Blown leads, games they should have won, and this team is just not a playoff team. I don't care. I've seen enough, and I know a lot of people have been done with the Niners. I feel like I've definitely been done with them for a while now, but this really cements it, and it's just not a playoff team. Like, I know it's going to be close down the stretch. I know probably the final week of the year they're going to try to get in and they're going to be right on the cusp, but even if they do get in the playoffs, I just don't see them doing anything in the playoffs. Just too many blown games this year, man. It's just not a championship caliber team, and it's just kind of sad how really this is their last year to really win a Super Bowl, and the fact that like it's gonna go out like this, it's too bad. I would have liked to see them kind of go out swinging more competitively, at least in the NFC Championship or maybe the Super Bowl, but for them to like not make the playoffs and for it to go down like this, which it's looking like it probably will, it's kind of sad. And I don't want to say it's been just a complete failure the past 4 or 5 years, but the ultimate goal is to win a Super Bowl, and the Niners have really come up short in these choke job sort of fashions. And yeah, man, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, they just didn't get the job done, man. They just didn't get the job done, and they're really going to have to tear the roster down and kind of have a bit of a reboot going forward, but we'll see. And on the other side, that was a must-win game for the Seahawks. Now they're right back in the mix for making an appearance in the playoffs. So good for Geno Smith, good for Seattle, and they're right back there, baby. And same with LA, out of nowhere too. I thought the Patriots were gonna beat them, but they're 5-5 with the Seahawks and the Niners. So it should be a fun watch for the entirety of the NFC West down the stretch. So we'll see how it plays out. But all three of those teams are still 2 games back from the Commanders and the Packers. Packers right now are 7-3, and the Commanders are 7-4. Packers got insanely lucky today. Really, the Bears should have won that game, but that's a huge win for the Packers. And speaking of the Packers, it does not get easier for the 49ers. They're on the road against Green Bay next week, 425, America's Game of the Week. Must-win game. Must-win game for both teams, honestly, but more so for the Niners, and that's a tough spot for them, man. That's a tough spot. It should be very competitive, should be close, but I got the Packers winning that game. Let me know who you think is going to win that game, but still, not an easy game for the 49ers at all. After that, they're at Buffalo, at home against Chicago, at home against LA, at Miami, at home against Detroit, and then at Arizona. Brutal schedule right there, man. Brutal. None of those games are easy dubs in any sort of way. I mean, that Green Bay game, sure, it could be competitive, but we'll see how it goes. At Buffalo, that's a tough spot. That's a tough spot for the Niners. Then at home against Chicago. Chicago looked good today. Who knows? Maybe Caleb and their new OC can cook something up and kind of build off of their performance today, because Caleb looked good. The rhythm of that offense looked good. The Bears defense is good too. So that by no means is an easy dub there at all. And then they played the Rams the following week. The Rams are right there with the Niners, like I said, so they're gonna be scrappy. They're gonna be fighting for their lives. And earlier in the year, they already beat the Niners, so that's like a 50-50 game too. After that, Miami, Tua's playing great. If Tua's still healthy and playing, that by no means is an easy game at all again. Then a rematch of the NFC Championship from a year ago. San Fran, Detroit. I totally expect the Lions to really handle the Niners, especially with how the Niners beat them a year ago. I know Dan Campbell is going to have them really motivated and really prepared to really take it to the Niners, so I don't see how that's going to be a dub. The point is, man, the Niners are just, they're in deep, deep water right now, and I don't see this team getting many wins down the stretch. I just don't see how they can get many wins down the stretch. They're playing some of the best teams in the NFL. Let me know if you agree with me, or let me know if you think this team could make the playoffs potentially. And for the 7th seed in the NFC, do you think it's going to be the Commanders or the Packers, or do you think a team from the NFC West could sneak in there and get it done, like the Rams, Seahawks, or Niners? The Rams' schedule for the remainder of the year: next week, they're at home against Philly, then at New Orleans, home against Buffalo, at San Fran, at New York, home against the Cardinals, then home versus the Seahawks. A little bit better. Saints, Jets in there, not bad. Definitely an easier schedule than the Niners, no question about it. The Seahawks' remainder schedule: next week, home Cardinals, then at the Jets, at Arizona, home Packers, home Vikings, at Chicago, and at LA to finish the year. So out of all three of those schedules, Rams, Seahawks, Niners, in my opinion, the Rams have the easiest schedule down the stretch, just barely. Yeah, man, we'll see how it all plays out. If I really had to make a prediction on who gets the 7th seed, I would be surprised if one of these NFC West teams got it, just because I feel like the Commanders will really get the job done down the stretch. And I think Green Bay will be pretty tucked away in the 6th seed as well. But you guys let me know who you think is going to win the 7th seed in the NFC. Very, very competitive stuff. Should be a lot of fun. And we're getting closer to the playoffs every week. Kind of crazy. Season has gone by so fast, but, we're enjoying every single week, enjoying every single moment. It was a great Sunday today, man. A lot of great games. The Bills game, the Seahawks game, the Packers game. The Bengals Sunday Night Football game is currently on right now and looking great. Not much else you could ask for, man. Let me know what your favorite game was this past Sunday. If you made this far, please subscribe and help out your boy a ton. That's all I got for right now. Peace.
Woodhead's a very smart runner. He knows situations in the game. He saw the first down yard markers, and what does he do? He gets past them and picks up the first down.
First down at the 49. Away from the ball, there's a flag down on the field. The defense will take the penalty. The Chargers have it at the 39. Houston's all over that offense and brings him down.
The Chiefs defensive coordinator, my gosh, he is one happy guy. Anytime you get in the backfield and stop a runner and make him lose yards, that's some good stuff.
The Chargers from the 37. And the catch is made by Woodhead.
Nobody cares. Just get the job done. Throw it deep down the field or Throw it short to the running back, and look at those extra yards after the short pass.
Will go ground. He's tackled beyond the markers. It's a first down.
Well, one of the hardest things to do, and I think, in the NFL now is third and short is run the football and pick up yards. That time, nice job by the offensive line. They showed their power, and they picked up the first down.
Locked in on the football and has hold of it with two hands.
Nice job that time by the tight end. Makes the catch, and you got to look out for him now in the NFL. Remember, they're usually the closest receiver to the quarterback. Quarterback gets in trouble, he's going to look for the tight end.
Woodhead